Today's podcast is brought to you by Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor, well, let me explain. It's the easiest way to make a podcast. It's free. It has creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor distributes your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many other platforms. You don't even have to think about it. You just load up your podcast, you drop it in, you tweak it, you add ads. You can make money from your podcast. There's no minimum listenership either. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. Club Cool puts the podcast out on Anchor. So do all the other Wash Media podcasts. And we've done this from other platforms. Nothing is as seamless or pretty or easy or just, perfect for putting out a podcast. So check out Anchor. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Welcome to the club.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, for another edition of the Club Cool podcast. I am your host, Barrett Dudley, and I am in the Wash Media Studios here at the Lodge, joined on the other side of the table by Phil Battaglia. Phil, how's it going, man?
Good.
I was really glad that you were able to make it to the podcast today because I know that you're busy this week studying up, getting ready to watch all hours of the Summer Games in Tokyo.
Right, which might not happen.
You've been texting me about you got to check out this guy on the decathlon and what's the best kit to go to an archery meeting, like an archery match, and that's why today is our Olympic episode. Mm-hmm. We are just going to talk about all of the gymnasts whose muscles you'll be staring at, and all of the water polo players who are about to become household names, and
we'll go over the full roster of every
country. How excited are you for skateboarding? At the Olympics this year.
Sure. If it's on, I'll watch it.
Super excited, aren't you?
Very
excited. That's the answer that
Is Ryan,
looking for.
what's his face? Boarding?
Scheckler? Yeah, he's representing the US of A.
I wish he was, man.
In all seriousness, though, I turned on the X Games this past weekend, just like very, very passively, and it was best trick on the half pipe.
Yeah.
Tony Hawk was riding the half pipe, dude. He was in best trick. He entered. This guy is like 52 years old. No, he did not win. Guess who won? Guess how old the gold medalist was?
18.
12.
Shut up.
Yes. There is a 12-year-old. His name's like Guy Curry, I think. And he is he cried. He cried like a child when he won the gold medal.
Incredible.
Because it probably doesn't even have any hair under his arms yet, man.
Is he in the Olympics?
I don't know if he's in the Olympics or not. I was totally kidding about the Olympics.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Just like you said, I'll put it on. But with Tokyo, the hours are super strange, so you're not going to see almost anything live unless you're watching like a morning event late in the evening. No fans. People are really negative about this. The performances are all probably going to be really bad because nobody can have sex in the villages with these cardboard beds. Nobody has any family or friends there. It's a very, very weird experience. I feel bad for all of the athletes involved. I don't feel bad for Japan because why were they not passing out the vaccines like all the other developed countries?
They weren't.
No, that's why they're in this mess to begin with.
Wow.
Anyways,
the sprints. I like a sprint.
You like a sprint, an archery sprint?
No. Any sort of 100-yard dash.
Oh, yeah. Track and field.
200. Even a 400 I'll watch.
Yeah. Speaking of track and field, there was a Beats by Dre commercial that debuted during the NBA Finals. And it featured a snippet of a new Kanye West song.
Oh, did it really?
Yeah. Did I say that this commercial featured Sha'Carri Richardson?
No.
Okay, it featured Sha'Carri Richardson. That's how it related to track and field.
Right.
She's the runner that tested positive for marijuana,
Yeah.
got left off the Olympic team, etc. Donda album dropping this Friday. Kanye album. Let's just start here. What are the chances that this album is any good?
25%.
25%. Okay. I was thinking low 30s was my. I was at the gym, literally thinking about what the percentage was that this album was good.
There will be one
I was
to
trying
two
to.
track.
I was trying to
one
come
track
up with,
for sure.
I was trying to come up with like an exact number.
One banger, the rest will suck, and there'll be another one that you're like,
There are so many things just going on with the current situation. I feel like it's. I don't know. I am far more hopeful for this album than I have been for certainly the last two. But I was also pretty iffy on Life of Pablo, which is probably a top 3 for me. Maybe, I don't know. I have to go back and it's always hard after Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy to get a cohesive ranking because I like all of them.
you should do a re-listen.
For different reasons. Look, art is generally good. Art is often produced from moments of like real change or real strife, and so look at somebody like Adele.
I was just thinking that.
Churns out
Yeah.
incredible albums
Right.
when she goes through a breakup. Sort of in the same vein as Taylor Swift. A little bit less. I don't know. I don't want to say profound because I don't want to like diminish her own relationship issues, but she derives a lot of her tracks and content from kind of ups and downs of her personal life, and for whatever reason, like I think Kanye was just like too deep into the tumult of it all, the last two. Now that he is kind of on the outside of it, or on the the swing back up, dating somebody new, hasn't been in the news for anything like off the wall recently, except for that he's going everywhere in like a full-on balaclava at the moment. But I don't know. I cannot help. We talked about this a couple weeks ago about how like, despite our kind of desire to leave this guy behind, when he pops up for music or for fashion, especially when it's for the things that he is known for and exceptional at, it's like it is super, super hard to say now we're not interested.
Yeah, very interested.
I'm very interested.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
And he kind of announced this last night. He's back on the Grom at Kanye West, and he did a little photo dump here, and Kanye's doing outfit grids now, Phil.
Yeah.
You see this outfit grid?
Yeah.
Well, we got to do a breakdown of it.
Okay.
Because, y'all mind if I gas the pot up here? Because we basically over the series of the last 6 weeks, I don't know, we kind of called everything that he's doing here. By the way, this main kit pick that he gets off here, where he is standing or squatting, doing the Slav squat on some type of metal drum cylinder thing. This is a very dope kit pick, and I'm hearing rumblings that we're going to be on the other side of this glass wall here in the Wash Media Lodge studios. I'm hoping that they are going to decorate with some of these metal cylinders so that I can get a pick just like this off.
If not, you can hop right up here on this table.
If not, I'll just gargoyle on the table.
Yeah.
That's what I'll do. Let's go to this. Let's take a look at his outfit grid. The first thing that we talked about after the Grammys is that leather was back. And that's the base of this outfit, is a pair of well-worn, what look like Eddie era Saint Laurent leather pants. The jacket and the boots are both a brand that we call that we brought up as like the hottest in high fashion, both Bottega Veneta. And I saw somebody post on Twitter last night, like within like the hours after he had posted this, and it was like the Google chart for Bottega Veneta searches. And this is the impact that this dude has and still has, no matter how crazy he gets, no matter how bad the music is. He posts something like this, and like it's just a straight line up the searches for like Bottega Veneta boots, Bottega Veneta jacket. Late last night, I was like on Matches Fashion, just peering around, seeing if any of this stuff was actually currently available, or if it's all a season or two old. This morning, everything that looks like the tire boots in that similar color or that jacket, which is like a Blouson style jacket, again, something that we pointed out when we talked about the resurgence of leather, is that like this like more simple pared back style with like a true like almost shirt collar, like is the direction that things are going. This jacket is not leather, it's like a felted piece, but this stuff is all like borderline sold out as of this morning on various e-com sites.
You should have kept those leather pants, dog.
And this is very, very, very expensive stuff. That's kind of the interesting thing, right? Is like it's not that surprising when he shows up on Keeping Up with the Kardashians in all white Ultra Boosts, and the all white Ultra Boosts sell out. Mm-hmm. Not surprising if he wears a pair of like nothing's coming to mind right now, but those more attainable items. He wore that Dickies jacket at the Met Gala, for instance. That thing sold probably, tens of thousands of additional units over the course of the next 3 months after that.
And they can churn those Dickies out, baby.
And they can churn those bad boys out. So something like that never sold out. This is such a different like Bottega was already, like having this big crescendo of a moment. It was already very Instagram friendly. And then Kanye drops this as the outfit grid. Like, there is no question in my mind now that over the next several seasons, like Bottega will be as popular as Saint Laurent and Gucci and Prada, basically, and Louis Vuitton. Like, he just elevated it to like household name for anybody that follows his music and his style and whatever else he brings to the table. So, congratulations to us first and foremost. But also, it's a good look. That's the other thing. Like, all this stuff, he keeps it easy. He keeps it simple. The stuff is all super nice. But at the end of the day, it's a black Blouson jacket with black pants and black boots and some cool jewelry. Like, so he's certainly not reinventing the wheel here. But all this, him dropping this is of significance because it cements the status of these items and then these brands for the foreseeable future. Nike socks.
Is that what he had on?
They're at the bottom of the outfit grid.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You think there's trouble in paradise?
Ooh, damn, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
So
is anybody in the comments mentioning?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's definitely comments on it, but nothing of note. Like no real. This is weird because Kanye is like a borderline or a billionaire at the moment because of the Yeezy line, because of his Adidas sneakers.
On paper, he's
on paper, right? But that's been the main source of his income. That has catapulted him into that like Billy or near Billy status, more so than any music has. He hadn't toured in 4 years, and the last 2 albums were flops essentially, and these guys. Spotify streams are not making you hundreds of millions of dollars, is my point here. So it seems really, really unlikely that he is like, I don't know, backing out of an Adidas deal. They're the ones that gave him all of the, the agency and the creative control and have stood by him like every step of the way as he, figures out these last 4 years and runs for president and all that such, but still kind of feels like a shot.
Yeah,
here that he would include. I'm pretty sure Adidas makes some black socks.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like he is saying something. What it is, I don't know. It's also interesting that none of this is his own line, right? Mm-hmm. That's none of it is Gap Yeezy. None of it is his own Yeezy clothing line, which I'm not even sure is currently producing clothing at the moment. But I don't know. I feel like there's. My guess is that this is just some that he has some artistic meaning behind this particular outfit grid, and the inclusion of Nike socks like either says something or means something or is potentially even like an olive branch to the brand. I don't know. Maybe they're trying to work out like
It's something.
re-releasing Nike Kanye retros, but he needs a piece of the pie. I don't know. What do you think about? I mentioned how he's wearing a balaclava all around the place, and it's been really interesting. This here, what he's got on is more of like a ski mask type thing, or like a face warmer.
Yeah.
Even the ones that he's been wearing around, like he was at an NBA game, and when he previewed the album for Kevin Durant, he's wearing like a big, like almost like a wool, just like sack on his head. It looks very like crochet and knit. He was all about the Margiela masks during his Yeezus days, and on that tour where he performed almost the entire show, if not the entire show, in like those bejeweled face coverings and masks. Any takeaways from what statement he's trying to make with the balaclavas and the mask wearing?
No, I think it's just classic Kanye.
Just
I like it. I think it's cool.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, I'm not gonna pull that off.
It also kind of reminds me of like the rapper MF Doom.
No, I know the name.
He's like I'm not super familiar with the music either, but
Yeah.
I know he's kind of a cult hero. Very like more on the underground side of things, but extremely well respected, and like people that consider themselves like true hip hop fans or like deep cut hip hop fans or underground hip hop fans usually really like MF Doom. Mm-hmm. Anyway, it's MF Doom always wore that big kind of comic book looking like mask,
like a Spartan.
Very Spartan. And then obviously Daft Punk.
Yeah.
Always in masks. So I think I feel like it's referential to those things, where it's kind of like I'm not exactly sure what it's saying, but it's almost like taking the attention like away from him and putting it on whatever it is he wants to focus on.
Or is putting it solely on him because he's the only guy in a mask.
Also, I mean, yeah. But
he loves it.
I don't know. I'm trying to suss it out because it clearly is like it means something to him,
Yeah.
But it also could just be another thing that it reminds me of is Ricky Williams. Remember Ricky Williams?
Yeah.
So he always had the visor, the dark visor on his football helmet, and he would keep it on even for post-game interviews because of his agoraphobia, because of his like social anxiety.
Yeah.
So it's like a protection thing. That also could be playing into this somehow. I think it's also paparazzi related, right? Like you can't see my face. Like I'm not showing you my face.
It'd be easier to move around. You're not 100% certain that's even him.
Another great insight. We don't even know if this
That's
is
not
Kanye.
even him in that photo.
I mean, it might not be.
Right?
This one, I don't know. Those bulky ass shoulders, I know that's Kanye. But yeah, he could have gotten a body double for this gargoyle. We don't even know that he can Slav squat like that.
Yeah. I like the necklace is pretty cool. It's got all of his kids'
All
names.
of his kids' names.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good.
Did I see who was it that was courtside with that old Jesus piece that he used to always wear? Was it LeBron?
I don't know. Maybe. Speaking of Adele, Adele is dating Rich Paul, LeBron's agent and business partner.
I did not know that.
Yeah, well, now you know.
Man.
So another thing that I've been thinking about with this album release is that this all came together it feels like relatively quickly. And Kanye is usually one to build up a lot of hype for an album and then continuously push it back. That's what he's done multiple times. And then sometimes he just doesn't even release it.
Yeah.
But he's in there tinkering with the tracks and the album artwork and like everything. And there's always this lead up and there's this delay, and this all seems to have come together this week. There's a launch party on Friday, I believe, that he's doing in Atlanta at one of the stadiums there, very reminiscent of when he debuted Life of Pablo at Madison Square Garden in New York all those years ago. And, it seems like he is positively jumping back on the horse. Part of me wonders if he is sticking it to Drake, who is doing the whole like delay, push back, not releasing it yet with Certified Lover Boy. Mm-hmm. And I dropped just a story post on our gram at Club Cool Pod of that Rolling Stone cover from 2008, which was building up this battle between Kanye West and 50 Cent. Do you remember this at all?
No.
Oh, dude, it was such a big deal. And it was like the battle for the hip-hop crown because they were both dropping new albums, on the same day. Kanye blew 50 out of the water on the album sales. If Kanye and Drake released on the same day, who you got?
Kanye.
You think Kanye? But now we're not album sales. We're spins. We're Spotify listens.
Yeah.
You think Kanye takes it?
Yes.
Just because of his gravitational pull.
Yeah. Not even a question.
Okay.
I think his fan base is so much more loyal and just anything he does, they're going to do it.
Drake is for the bops. Is for the number one hits. But for like album releases, who is flooding Spotify with like listens all day long for the next 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It's the Kanye fan base. Mm-hmm. I think that's right. I really want this album to be good.
Me too.
Just to circle back.
Wouldn't that be good?
Like, would love that.
Do you know how many tracks?
I don't. No. I'm just. I hope he can pull the. Honestly, I'm far less worried about the beats than I am about the lyrical content. Because you just don't know what this guy's going to say anymore.
I just really hope that he can continue down this path, release the album, whether it's, every track is great or not, just continue down this road and not go off path with some rant about, like, cereal or something.
Yeah.
Like, just something so stupid.
Yeah.
Because that is probably going to happen. He'll come up with some sort of thing to latch onto, go on a rant, and then it's all, everybody's like, oh, God, he is crazy.
Right. Well, there's no question you're going to get Kanye rants, at least at his performances, because he's always done that.
That's
it's just
fine,
like, it's just like
just
how...
keep it off of this stuff.
Right, and it's just like how crazy do the rants get?
Yeah.
Running
for president,
like
MAGA hats.
Yeah. And there's one side of, like, okay, compare yourself to Walt Disney all you want, but, like, let's not talk about 5G towers, right?
Yeah. What did he think about that?
He hasn't talked about 5G towers.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying please don't.
Damn. See, for sure I would think he would have something to say.
The whole, like, 5G towers are creating the coronavirus thing.
Well, they are. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, no, now Kate McKinnon, she's just shilling for Verizon, like, to get everybody a 5G phone for free. Like, you wonder why they're giving phones away for free that have the 5G on them so that they can keep mind controlling you with COVID and lockdowns.
She's part of the Hollywood elite.
She's part of the Hollywood elite. Diddling little kids on the side.
Yeah.
Blood Boys, the works. Epstein Island, you name it.
She's there.
Yeah. Sad to see.
That's the world we live in, Barrett.
Just kidding for anybody that tries to that wants to clip that and just and put it online. The people would be coming after us. We just got such a big listenership these days, Phil.
Hey man, there's no such thing as bad press.
Okay. Anyway, just big stuff. Kanye, new album Friday. We'll if it actually drops, if it actually comes out, I'm sure we'll have more to say about it. Last thing. This outfit grid and kit pick aside, like I mentioned, he's been wearing the big bulky balaclava. He has also been wearing a black version of that blue jacket. much better.
Right. And can you see if there's a closure on
There's
it?
no zipper.
Oh.
It does not close. Style only. No function, Phil. You want to button that thing up, get yourself a piece of rope.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to get a belt.
Yeah.
Just belt it.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Shoelace, belt, whatever you want. Just you're going right around the waist.
Yep. Beautiful.
You got a DIY on that one. And that's okay.
We got to get one of those.
We do need one.
Yeah. It's in the wash budget. I'm sure they can get one.
Yeah, well they're building this fancy new studio over here. Like, yeah. They got
Randy?
They got to get one for us. All right, let's break, hear from today's sponsor, and then we'll be back with more. Today's episode of Club Cool is brought to you by the Headspace app. Wouldn't it be great if there were a pocket-sized guide that helped you sleep and focus and act and be better? There is, and if you have 10 minutes, Headspace can change your life. Headspace is your daily dose of mindfulness in the form of guided meditations in an easy-to-use app. It is one of the only meditation apps advancing the field of mindfulness and meditation through clinically validated research. And whatever the situation is, it really can help you feel better. Whether you're overwhelmed with life and work or kids, or you need to sleep better, or you need some help finding new workouts, or you need better playlists to help you focus, they've got it all. They even have little 3-minute SOS meditations for you when you're in a pinch and you don't have much time and you just need that quick fix to calm down and reduce stress and improve sleep and boost focus and just increase your overall sense of well-being. It's all such great stuff. Headspace is backed by 25 published studies on its benefits, 600,000 5-star reviews, and over 60 million downloads. That number is just continues to climb. You've got a download here on my phone. I pull this out at least once a week. It's important to just kind of take that moment for yourself and recharge. 2021, not as bad as 2020, but still kind of just as crazy.
You never know.
And you never know. We got all this Delta now to worry about. We don't know where things are going. You need the Headspace app so that you can just keep yourself centered and sticking to what matters and not creating too much worry and insanity inside your own brain. That's why you need the Headspace app. It makes it easy for you to build a life-changing meditation practice with mindfulness that works for you on your schedule, anytime and anywhere. You deserve to feel happier, and Headspace is meditation made simple. Go to headspace.com/clubcool. That's headspace.com/clubcool for a free 1-month trial with access to Headspace's full library of meditations for every situation that you might find yourself in. This is the best deal offered right now. So head to headspace.com/clubcool today. All right, Phil, let's see. Where should we go from here? Last night, speaking of sports, Olympics, there was another big sporting event last night. The Milwaukee Bucks won the NBA championship for the first time in 50 years. Congrats to those guys. Big ups to Giannis, who really came through. 17 and 19 on the free throws. Absolutely insane for a Shaq-level free throw shooter. He earned it. I saw some photos floating around the web last night of these guys with their ski goggles on and their bottles of champagne and their cigars. And there was one pic that I saw. I've since lost it, but it's one of the Bucks players. He's sitting in his chair. He's got a cigar and his goggles on, and he's holding what looks to be a kind of a pink, effervescent bottle of something.
I know what you're thinking.
And I know that it's just probably like some Veuve Clicquot Brut Rosé or Dom Rosé or whatever it might be. But, I couldn't help but think maybe that's a pet nat.
It wasn't.
Have we permeated enough with this natural wine thing to where NBA championship celebrations, these guys are like, oh, is that the new natural wine? Is that organic grapes, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, how funky is that one? Just a light effervescence. No, it's not that. These guys are spraying it all around. They just want expensive stuff to sip on bubbly. But I did think it would be fun and funny and cool to see some guys just like, because LeBron, D-Wade, these guys are big wine drinkers. They got to be experimenting with the natural wine thing.
Sure.
I was thinking about that especially because I've started making true headway into natural wine discovery. Finally.
Good. Good for you.
And I'll shout out our central market here. It's our upscale HEB. They have a really nice selection going, and they've positioned them well. There's this little offshoot, and this just falls into all of our pop culture and lifestyle stuff because it's like marketing is so important, even when it's just how you present natural wines inside of a grocery store. And so while there is like a small section in your usual wine racks, they also have this little like rustic looking black wooden like cubby thing over on the side. And that's where all the natural wines are. And all these natural wine bottles, they look a little funky too. They look a little more rustic, maybe a little more unfinished. The labels all kind of look like they were put on there by hand. There's not as many descriptions or grape call outs on the front. It's a lot of pictures, a lot of color, a lot of unique colors like the oranges and pinks and yellows that you're not totally used to seeing with traditional wine. And it just really hooked me, and I walked by, I saw some bottles that looked good and were priced well, and I'll just give a shout out to one, which is a Pinot Noir called Pas de Problème, and it was a really nice just like entry into natural wine because it's a really really great Pinot, but you can tell that there is something different about it. There's just like that slight hint of effervescence behind it.
This is a pet nat?
It's not a pet nat. No, it's just a Pinot Noir. Okay. And there's just something that brings some unique flavor to it that you don't get to a Pinot. Later in the week at HEB or at Central Market, I was there again. I found the Skins bottle that you recommended.
Did you like it?
I haven't tried it yet. Well, I can't drink 6 bottles of wine in one night, Phil.
You have it in the cellar.
It's in the cellar.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is an IKEA shelf in the living room on a little CB2 wine rack thing. So I picked up that one and I was like, well, if I'm gonna get this one, it's like $22, so I might as well get the 6-bottle discount. And so
if I'm gonna get one bottle, I might as well get
5 more. Yeah. So I had talked to the guy a little bit. I picked up 5 more bottles and a couple more of the Pas de Problème Pinot Noir because I thought it was so great. The one that I had earlier this week with a pasta dish was called Smarazin by Mirko Miriati, I want to say. Excellent stuff. Just an awesome white wine. And let me bounce what I feel like is a secret off of you that I feel like nobody has said to me, but may be accurate. I think natural wine is wine for beer drinkers.
It's for hipsters.
But there's like in just tasting these first few that I think are really good examples of what natural wine and what these pet nats can bring. It's like its flavor profiles and that funkiness that is honestly more like what you would get in like small batch IPAs or weird like farm beers out at Jester King. It's this weird like mix of fermentation and hop and the grapes, and it's just like it's all of these things kind of coming together in a way that is for me far more unique, or at least you can tell the difference easier between these like various flavors in these bottles. And that's one of the things that I've been thinking about why I'm so kind of immediately hooked after I finally put my foot in the water, not just a toe, but like, can I tell the difference between a $10 bottle of red wine of a $10 bottle of Cab and a $60 bottle of Cab? Yeah. But can I point out to you like the flavor differences or like what exactly it is that I'm noticing that's different? Not really.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is fun about this natural wine thing is that like they are all so different in very clear ways, I think. And the guy at Central Market, he even included he was telling me about one, and he used like the word like dry hopped. And that's when this gear started turning in my head that like, this shit has a lot more in common with beer, I feel like, than it does with traditional French and Italian and California wine. You ever, am I onto something there?
Yeah, for sure. That's what I've always said, that a lot of the stuff that's natural wine, it tastes like a sour beer to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Not all of it. Some of it is almost identical to the counterpart that's a conventional wine.
Yes, and that's I think that's a good. That's what I was saying about that Pasta Problem Pinot, is that like it's close to a regular Pinot, but there is something.
Yeah.
You also can point out like, oh, this is a little brighter. This is a little has a little slight effervescence. Like it's not as none of these wines that I've had so far are anywhere close to as like dry or acidic as traditional.
So
wine.
one thing with the natural wine that is a lot of the reason for that is that they're so unique is because each bottle is going to be unique. They don't have hardly any control over after they put it in the bottle.
Yeah.
Because they're not adding the additives. They're not adding the additional sulfites.
Right.
They're not adding, their own yeast. Some people just use the native yeast that's floating around in the vessel.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so there's no control. It's like just you're off-roading. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
As opposed to like a French Pinot from Burgundy where it is like dialed fucking in. They know exactly what's going into that bottle, and that next bottle is going to taste almost identical to it.
Yep.
Depending on when you're opening it.
Right.
And that's a good thing and a bad thing for natural wine, in my opinion, because it can go. They can turn bad much quicker, or be bad immediately, than a conventional wine.
The natural wines can.
Yeah, where they have more control over the car. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's there's something to be said for less is more, right? I mean, a lot of those wines that are natural that have less additives, they're just letting the grape do the talking for the most part. That's a good thing in my opinion. But some of them, I can't get with. Like, we've done flights of natural wines before, and every one of them almost tasted the same. Mm-hmm. And they're different varieties.
Right.
Varietals. They're like sour.
Sour,
A little more sour. A little less sour.
Yeah.
And so, like, that just gets old to me. But,
well, and I think that's a good kind of caveat to include, is that this is all very new to me.
Me too.
And so they are like, part of what I am noticing is how different they are compared to traditional wines. As I dive deeper and deeper, I might eventually kind of hit that same plateau with these, where it's like, oh yeah, I know what I'm getting now. These are going to taste kind of funky and kind of sour, and like maybe a little brighter, a little bit, maybe slightly more fruit forward, less tannic, like all those types of things that I think are qualities about them. And then I'll just need to go back to traditional. I don't know. There was just something about. And maybe it's the price range that I'm in with the traditional wines, where like almost every bottle that I buy is somewhere between $10 and $22.
yeah.
And it's like it's just hard to get a lot of differentiation, or a lot of like, or find that real kind of next level of quality like in that range.
Yeah.
And I'm not doing enough research to really suss out the bottles that are kind of a taste or drink above that price level. And so everything is just starting to taste kind of the same to me.
Don't do the 6-pack anymore. Have the same budget. Go in there and get 2 good bottles. 2 different varietals, above $35 each. Mm-hmm. And then, pair it. Do some research. What are you going to cook for it?
Yeah.
That's what we do. And it can get expensive, but I mean, not every weekend am I buying something $40.
Right.
There's no way. But if you can get above 30, even above 35 for a bottle of something consistently, there's just more to say in that wine. There's a longer finish. There's more. It's just more complex, and I don't know. It's just more fun, I guess, if you want to go down that road. Because you're right, the stuff between 10 and 22. There's some good stuff in there, on the higher end, like towards the 22 range. But it can get tiresome, I suppose.
Monotonous.
Yeah.
It's kind of how I've been feeling with it recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, last note here on my realization that this stuff is comparable to beer. It's also easy to drink.
Oh yeah. Too easy.
Too easy.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's already a big difference for me between drinking like a crisp Sauvignon Blanc or a crisp white, especially in this heat, and a red. Like we will pound a bottle of white wine.
Yeah. Easy
In a night. And like very rarely will we go through like a whole bottle of Cab or Pinot or a Côte d'Aron or whatever like in an evening.
Mm-hmm.
This natural wines, it's just because of the way it drinks. It's just a lot easier to suck down.
I love that.
It seems.
I love it. In the summertime, man, cold wine, whether it's a chillable red or a white.
I love a chillable red, man.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Damn.
So
And a lot of those are probably low ABV too, right?
I think everything I was looking at, everything I picked is still in the 13-14% range. Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, if it's lower ABV, then it's even closer to beer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you had some notes on champagne here. What were you?
Oh, nothing. Just about the difference between the way that they do the pet net versus the traditional champagne, and that's boring.
Okay. Well, and if LeBron wins another championship, I expect to see him popping pet nats instead of traditional champagne.
That dude's popping some expensive French reds.
Well, maybe he needs to get with the natural wine program.
What he should do is, and he probably already has, is he's got to have some money into
in a winery,
yeah,
in a vineyard, yeah,
for sure.
I bet he does.
Yeah.
Okay, we can move on from the wine talk. There's a GQ article from the new copy of the magazine. I guess it's August's edition. It's called The New American Sportswear. It was put together and written, I think, largely by Rachel Tashjian. I hope I'm saying her last name right. She's a good Twitter follow, by the way, and I like her writing for GQ a lot. I think she is probably the magazine's best asset at the moment, and I think she has been really, really good about like pulling GQ out of the hashtag menswear era and like talking about the stuff that we're talking about on podcasts and we're talking about in Discords and we're talking about online and like seeing on Instagram. She's definitely been a kind of key piece in keeping GQ kind of modern at this point, when it very easily could have just like lagged and fallen into the depths of
hashtag menswear.
And just kind of installed there, or always been one step behind and whatever. And so I think she's done a great job. I mostly just wanted to kind of call out this column and suggest that everybody go read it. There are a few insights to be made, though. The first thing is I'll just read you the brands that are the 10 new the new American sportswear brands. 10 American brands from Telfar to Fear of God to Aimé Leon Dore are setting the agenda for American style around the globe and making the clothes we all want to wear most right now. Let's see. Here are the brands. Let me get the list. Dang, where is it? I just had it up. Sorry, guys. Okay. It is Rude, Fear of God, Bodie, Aimé Leon Dore, 18 East, Todd Snyder, Eckhouse Latta, John Elliott, Noah, Telfar, and that's and those are the 10.
Okay.
So I the point is, those are all brands, almost all brands that we have given a lot of exposure, like a lot of time to on the podcast. They are the brands that we are talking about and focusing on and paying attention to really closely, even if they're not, even if they only make up a small percentage of our wardrobes. They're the ones that we're really like, that draw eyes for whatever reason and make a sport out of paying attention to them. Yeah, essentially. And that was one of the first things that one of the little blurbs that I wanted to pull out. I actually haven't gotten through the entire article, but she says here, and let's see. Should have copied and pasted this one.
While you're doing that, let's talk about Jeff Bezos's cowboy hat.
Go for it.
Randy, what'd you think? You liked it. That's a good-looking hat. And there's a reason why he wanted it strapped on his head immediately upon emerging from that capsule.
Because he's bald?
He knows he looks good in that hat. That's a guy that you know, he looks, he's like, yeah, I'm wearing this fucking hat to space. I want it ready for me when I get on the ground. It's worn in. It's nice looking.
Do you think that he's wearing that hat on the reg?
I guarantee.
Or do you think he bought that hat specifically for this trip?
I have a feeling
we buy a new swimsuit for like a beach vacation. He was like, I've got this trip coming up. I need a cowboy hat for it.
That hat looks like it was worn in by a real Texan that gave it to him upon his arrival in
He probably bought
West
it like
Texas.
from Sotheby's, and it was like worn by John Wayne or something.
He bought it from the guy whose ranch he took over, probably. It's like, hey, we're going to put a launch pad in the middle of this field, and I want your hat.
Yeah,
too,
include the hat. Yeah, totally.
It's a good-looking hat.
The jokes yesterday were all very good, very funny.
Mm-hmm.
I personally don't take that much offense to Jeff Bezos launching himself into space with his money. Like, it's feels like a straw man argument to be like, oh, you did this, but you're like not as philanthropic as you should be, right? It's like whataboutism, I think is a term that I've heard for it. But it's like he can do both. If we want to call him out for not donating nearly as much money to causes as his wife has, for example, after the split, I think she's donated $10 billion already, and like that, I think that largely dwarfs at least what his public donations have been. That's a good thing to call him out for. But I don't think it like let the guy go to space, man.
Yeah.
Let him build out this piece of this thing that he's interested in. I don't know. It's all of like the kind of the vitriol aimed at him for doing this billionaire space joyride, I thought was like, I get it. The jokes are funny, but I don't really have that big of an issue with it.
Not at all.
So
people are haters, Barrett.
Okay, I found the quote that I was looking for. Sorry about that. Here it is. Something exciting is happening in American fashion, a shift in the clothes American men are wearing and the way success is defined in the fashion business, driven by designers who idolized Ralph Lauren and were raised on the streetwear-inflected sportswear of the 1990s. And then here's the important part. They are also speaking to a new generation of consumers who see fashion and these designers as popular culture. What's the intersection that we reside on? A product similar to music or sports to follow like fanatics, who view shopping as entertainment, a way of hanging out, and clothes as a way to demonstrate their depth of knowledge in a world of social media-fueled micro-trends. And then there's another piece of this that like speaks to these brands that are basically selling having a lifestyle as a lifestyle. And it kind of calls out how like millennials like derive and kind of name success as having a lifestyle. That's like a metric. That's like a, that's a piece of the equation for success for like people our age is like having a lifestyle. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean?
I think so.
It's like, it's almost, man, I certainly relate to this a lot because in my mind, it's like, I almost value the, am I going to the restaurants that I want to go to? Am I able to go on like the trips that I want to go on? Am I able to buy the things that I want to buy? And I think we as a generation like largely put that ahead of like the actual numbers in the bank. Yeah. And so maybe that comes at the cost of like whether it's like saving or having kids or a lot of this or homes, which are obviously like out of affordability for lots and lots and lots of people, even people that make decent earnings at the moment, right?
Yeah.
So it's just it's I think the priorities have just shifted, and it's obviously social media fueled because we all spend so much time there, and we want to broadcast the lifestyle that we're out there living as well. But I think that's kind of the point, is that these brands are able to harness that energy, and it It reminds me of the way I heard Drake's music described once, which is like, Drake makes music you want to listen to while hanging out with your friends. And I thought that was like just the perfect description.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same way that like the clothes I'm interested in are clothes that I want to wear while doing cool stuff, while doing fun things. And so it's just that's one of the kind of the through lines of this column seems to be how these brands are capturing not only what we want in clothes, but what we want in a lifestyle. And they all kind of harken back to the OG of that, which is Ralph Lauren. Mm-hmm. And these brands are all wildly different price ranged and for the most part, very, very different in their individual styles as well. You know, Fear of God and 18 East don't share a lot in common.
Yeah.
Certainly not from a price perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think, but I think it's very clear, even though that they are so different, that both of those brands consider Ralph Lauren as like the icon, as like the one essentially. And that's you definitely see that in brands like ALD and Noah as well. John Elliott, I think, has referenced wanting to become Ralph Lauren, as has Jerry Lorenzo, and so that's definitely like another big piece of this as far as these brands are all very different. What is it that they have in common? But just I don't know, kind of cool to see that these brands are getting recognition is like what we're paying attention to, what our listeners are paying attention to, et cetera. So also of note, Rachel was able to get interviews with all of these designers except for Teddy Santis, who is notoriously like allergic to giving interviews.
Really?
He basically doesn't do them.
Interesting.
And I mean, I pretty clear that you're not going to do any interviews when you're featured in this type of big column in GQ.
Uh-huh.
And
there will be no interviews.
And there will be like
if you're not doing that one.
If you're not doing this one,
yeah.
you're not doing any of them.
Yeah.
And it's just it's another interesting thing with that particular brand where he's called out as like an amazing stylist in this brand. Like that's where his power comes from, is like merchandising and styling almost more than like the individual items themselves or even as like a creator, as a designer. He's not reinventing the wheel with anything that he puts out, but the way that he puts it all together is like what separates him. We've also called him like the best mood boarder ever. The little the photo dumps that he just drops that are all from all over the place, whether it's New York and Biggie and Jay-Z or Porsches and mountain landscapes or people in Santorini or on the Amalfi Coast or fishermen in Greece, like all that, it just all meshes. And it's like, he's able to say so much through that I feel like he feels like saying anything at all other than that could harm the brand or affect it in a negative way. So I don't know.
Not a bad stance, man.
No, it's interesting. It's totally interesting. And I, like you said, I mean, he is obviously differentiating himself by not giving the interview as well.
Right.
So that's again, like separating himself by not participating essentially. And I mean, also kind of cool that I feel like if I was him, my ego would be too big. I'd have to talk. I don't want to gas myself up. I spent the first 10 minutes of this podcast gassing ourselves up for saying two trends that Kanye has like adopted. You know what I mean? Like
he's gassing himself up by not
doing it, by not gassing himself up.
It's a different kind of gas.
Yeah, that's he's playing chess, not checkers, out there, Phil.
There, see, who's going to be on this list one day? My new favorite T-shirt, thanks to you, Uniform LA.
It looks great.
Doesn't it? Do I look great?
Oh yeah,
I feel great.
And that color, that mocha color, I'm bummed that I didn't get the right size in that one because that color is incredible. We got to wrap up actually the podcast right now because Pat should be dropping early links to his mesh shorts.
Oh shit!
In about 5 minutes.
Okay.
And even though I said, last week I said, why are we all letting fashion persuade us to wear middle school PE shorts? I got a cop. I got a cop. Like
the pic he posted either was that today or yesterday?
Last night, I think.
That was nice.
They look great, man. That's the thing. Like these
What's
are
the name of this tee?
The artist tee.
Perfect. Great fit. Extra small.
Yeah, and you know, I don't really have a pair of mesh shorts. I've got like one pair. I've got one pair that's like a funky pattern from Jordan brand, but I've not latched on to any of these just like regular solid color ones. The John Elliott ones were crazy expensive. The Yellow Label ones seem a little too baggy for my pencil legs. The Eric Emanuel ones have that god-awful logo on them. The Aimé Leon Dore ones sell out way too fast. So there just hasn't been the right mix of things. But leave it to Pat to churn out, you know, the perfect one that's going to be approachable in price.
Comfortable
and
tee,
all
man.
the details thought out on these shorts. Got a Riri zip on the back, deep pockets, the right length. So we got to bounce. I gotta pull trick here.
Wrap it up.
All right, that's it. Yeah. Check out our sponsor. Get the Headspace app. Get your mind correct.
When does that Kanye album drop?
Friday. Go support us. Patreon.com/clubcool. 2 tiers to choose from, starting at only $2 a month. We'll have some great editorial content coming out for you over the coming days. And follow us on Instagram @ClubCoolPod. That'll do it for us today. We will see you next week.
Later.